Welcome back for another edition of Strengthening Oklahoma. And this edition of Strengthening Oklahoma is brought to you by the Winston in Norman. The Winston's got great food, better drinks, and the best patio in Norman. Visit thewinston.com to see their menu or order online. It's OU Texas week. Let's put the TCU game to bed and look forward to the greatest game in all of college football. And to help put it all into proper perspective, one of our absolute favorites, the veteran, the senior, who will be a captain for this Cotton Bowl. We welcome in Mr. Brayden Willis. Brayden, how you doing today, man?
Good. How are y'all?
We're doing well, man. It's OU Texas week. It's the best week of the year. And I would imagine nothing would be better to get that taste out of your mouth from Fort Worth than to go down to Dallas and find a way to get a win this week.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. This is a big game, and, whole seasons have been turned around, from this game. So, a lot is riding on it, and I'm excited, as always.
So before we talk Texas, let's look back at TCU. Clearly an extremely frustrating performance for you guys. What – when you were able to go back and watch, what went so wrong?
Yeah, we just weren't able to get in the rhythm, and we're playing a lot of 9 and 10-man football. I think that's what it comes down to. On tape, there's a lot of people doing, the right thing, and then, 1 or 2 mess ups, and, that can be the difference in football. It's a team game. So I just think that we have to play better first and foremost, and everybody has to be locked in and keyed into assignments. And I think if that happens, the score of that game drastically differs. So
yeah, I think you're right. Now, you're one of the real leaders on this football team. You've been around a while. You've seen a lot. After the game, what was your message to the team? And throughout the week of preparation for this game, what's been your message?
Yeah, just staying together is the biggest thing. After that, the media went haywire. I encourage them to stay off the socials. We don't need any of that negativity creeping in. We don't need anything to come in and try to, separate us. The world's going to be telling us that, the sky's falling down. But at the end of the day, we know that how close we are, and we know how good that we really can be. So we have to stay together first and foremost. And then we just have to get better. Some of the things that we're doing right now isn't working. So let's, try something like, put more time in, like stay at the facility later, get there earlier, like do some things that we, weren't doing, or, get back to some of the things that we were doing the first 3 weeks. And, just get back to on the right side of things.
So it wasn't all bad in Fort Worth. In particular, I remember a big man catching a beautiful ball, running full speed down the sideline. I know it's hard to smile and think positively about anything in that game, but right. How good of a feeling was that big long play for you, man? You gotta dive for the end zone. What are we doing?
Yeah, I know. But it was good, man. I wasn't really focused on it in the moment. I was just trying to do what I can to get my team back in the game, and I wish I could have did more. And as I went back and, watched the film, there's a lot of things, from not even, catching the ball standpoint that I could have did better. But yeah, I wasn't really even thinking about it, but it's cool. It was my longest in my career, and it was nice. But, like I said, I'm more so focused on things to get us on the right side of the, winning bracket or winning margin.
No question. I'm curious. It's a delicate balance, and I've been there before as well, but, it didn't go well last week. Do you just kind of take that and throw it out, or, and just move forward? Or do you take some of that with you to remind yourself all throughout the week of exactly how you guys need to prepare? How do you use last week to help fuel and make you guys better this week? Is it just to completely erase it from your memory, or do you take some of that with you to fuel you throughout the week?
You can't completely erase it. The best, some of the biggest lessons in history came from, the problems that happened throughout history. So the biggest thing that I think we did was we had a come to Jesus meeting. You know, we had a players only meeting, got in there, and guys spoke their heart. You know what I'm saying? Guys, like, you know, no restrictions, no, you know, no filter or nothing like that. Like, guys spoke their heart and said what, you know, what's going on, what's wrong with the team. And I think that was good for us. You know, we had a little bit of, you know, back and forth, and like not any arguing or nothing like that. Just like, I think this, we need to incorporate this, you know. And you know, I think it would be beneficial, but all those things, you know, is just words if we don't put them into action. So, you know, I think it's good to have a little bit of that, because that's what that was, you know, that Sunday come to Jesus meeting. That was us looking at what went wrong in that game and looking on how to fix it in the future, you know. And so now when it got to Monday, we were able to, you know, watch the, you know, corrections a little bit more. And then, you know, after that, flush it, get to practice, and, you know, get ready to go.
So you text this week, man. You know, the TCU game happened. Got to put it behind you. Got to find a way to move forward, right? As a football team. What has practice been like this week? You know, how has the energy been? How's the team's confidence? Like, how are you guys feeling right now?
You know, after that meeting, I challenged us to be more physical and more like hungrier, you know, more aggressive, and, you know, just always on 10. And I think through the first 2 days of practice, that has been what practice has been. You know, yesterday was a real physical, aggressive, you know, back and forth practice, you know. So I think the mentality of the team is good. I think we're in a good place. We have to follow it up by another good day today, a great Wednesday, or it all means nothing, you know. But I think the guys are locked in and focused, and, you know, we all know what this week and this game means to everybody. You know, I told the guys, for the guys that haven't been in the game, man, this game is unlike any other game that you will ever play in. I don't care what rivalry you played in. I don't care, you know, whatever you've been in, it's different than any other game. After this game, you'll be physically, mentally, and spiritually exhausted after this game. And it's going to take every man. It's going to go down to the wire. It's going to be to the last second. So I just wanted to paint a picture for those guys to understand what it's going to take for us to come out. And, you know, first and foremost, you know, the team that's going to win is going to be the most disciplined team, the team that runs the ball the best, and the team that controls big plays, you know, has big plays of their own, and, you know, limits big plays on the defensive end. So it's been a good week of practice. You know, I just think it's important for us to, from a mentality standpoint and ball standpoint, to be perfect in our preparation.
Totally agree, man. It feels like the team that is more effective running the ball in this game in particular usually finds a way to win. You're from the Dallas metro area, much like myself. What does this game mean to you? Getting back close to home, you know, getting back on that Texas soil, kind of almost close to your backyard. Does it make it even that much more special for you being a Dallas metro kid going back to play there?
Yeah, this game is always special. You know, I have a real distaste for them fellows in that university, and it means the world to me, you know. So I'll put it on the line. I'm going to give everything I got, you know, anything that I can do to help the team, I'm going to do it. And you know, I'm not going to hold back. This week I've been speaking my mind, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm going to talk to them blue in the face. But yeah, it definitely has a little extra meaning to me, you know, and other personal reasons, but, you know, it does.
So, you know, with that in mind, with how much this means to you, man, how much does it mean to you that you're a captain for this game? You get to walk out for the coin flip and be kind of the voice of the football team. You're already that guy in my mind, right? Just from what I'm able to see down on the sideline. But what's that mean to you?
No, it's something you dream about, you know, especially in that game, that atmosphere. I've already kind of, you know, I like to, visualize and kind of, see myself doing well and see myself in the process prior to being, in the game and in the moment. But I already know that moment's going to be crazy. That walk to the coin toss is going to be nuts. And, I'm excited because I think that out of all the experience that we have, the guys that are going to be out there and myself have had some of the craziest OU Texas, games and stories, probably not ever, but we've had through the last 4 or 5 years, we've had a crazy run of games, so, and we've been through all types of situations, 4 overtimes, comebacks, a dominant performance, we've been through a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's good for, some older guys that have been through all that to get out there and kind of lead. And I hope that our experience, reigns through the game.
Well, you're right. I mean, the 18 season with Kyler, y'all are down 21. You guys tie it up. That was a wild sequence of events. The 2020 game was bananas with the 4 overtimes. And last year, you guys are down 21 in the first half, and you come back and you find a way to get a win. You're right, man. You have been a part of a collection of some of the wildest OU Texas memories, and I can't wait to see how this weekend unfolds. As far as their defense goes, they look better to me than they were a season ago. What stood out to you on the film? It's tough not to pinpoint zero DeMarvion Overshone with his length and the way they're using him. Guy is always all over the field. But what stands out to you with this Texas defense, the 2022 version?
Yeah, man, they're doing, some good things, on all phases of the ball. But on defense, they got a solid interior defensive line. I think that's probably the strength of their defense. They're 2 big boys up front. They could get it going. They're stronger, a little bit faster, use their hands better than they were last year. They're doing a good job for them. And then their linebackers, like you said, Zero and Ford, Overshone, and they can get out and they can run, and they fit the hole and they do a good job. So that's in particular what I've seen from them. I think those are their strongest suits, linebacker and their interior D line. I think that they do what they do and they don't really, you know what to expect. You kind of know what to expect. They don't do too much. They're not super complex or nothing like that. They do what they do, and that's what it is. So that's good because we know where they're going to be at, and so we could kind of game plan a little bit better. But that's kind of what I've seen on film from a defensive standpoint.
So as far as film preparation for you, right? Because tight end, it's unique. Right, you got to know all the run game. You got to know all the pass game. Right. You got to know all the shifts and motions. You got to know everything. Right. So when you're studying film, like how much time do you devote, to those DNs that you're going to be blocking, or those linebackers and how they play some of those stuff, some of those plays where you're inserting in the run game versus how much you're studying how linebackers and safeties cover, like there's only so much time in the day, man. How do you kind of like delegate your time when it comes to your prep?
It's actually funny that you say that because a lot of people don't understand that's like the preparation for a tight end. Most guys, they are going to be dealing with the same person all game. You know what I'm saying? I literally watch film on every single player on their defense because at some point I'm going to be dealing with every single player on their defense, whether it's games up front and the nose hits out or the end hits in, the nose comes out, or, it's a blitz from the linebacker that I got to pick up, or I'm running a route on a safety or a corner, or I'm blocking a safety or a corner or a nickel. Like I have to watch film on everything. So I think the biggest thing for me is just managing my time well. And I kind of separate them through the days. Right. And then also getting a jump on them early. I got to jump on them early Sunday, put the TCU film to bed and then get a jump on them early so that you kind of have some, a head start kind of, especially from my position. I can't wait till Monday to start watching film on them because like you said, there's only so hours in a day. And I also have to watch film of practice during the week and, looks that they're going to do during the week, not even just how individual players play things, but how the defense in general plays things, how they bump to motions, how they react to, whatever, trips or, so it's a lot for me. But I think that through the years and as a younger player, I kind of struggle with it. But over the years, I've kind of gotten better with time management and, delegating different times to different position groups.
Last one, and then we'll get a couple of fan questions. And I would never, ask you to divulge anything about the roster, who's ready to go and who isn't. So I don't even want you to think that way. But clearly, with the shot that we saw Dylan take, other guys have got to be getting themselves ready coming up this week. What has that been like? And how can you in particular, with some inexperienced guys potentially having to step in if Dylan can't go, how can you or some of the other veteran players help those guys for this situation, for the moment they might see in the game on Saturday?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us is making it easier on whoever is back there taking snaps for us, So that means, like Coach says all the time, preparing with purpose. We have to make sure that every single look and every single thing that we could possibly see, we're ready for, so that when it comes, we can react properly and it doesn't put more stress on the quarterback, So that's been our challenge this week. Like I said, that's what I've challenged the guys to do. I've always done things a certain way, but I've challenged guys to kind of do stuff my way, for a change, kind of get a head start on it, because everybody has to be on point and everything has, just make whoever's back there taking snaps comfortable. So that's the biggest thing for me, is just preparing and making sure that mentally we're on point.
Got to. Absolutely have to. That's an excellent way to answer that. And we can't wait to see exactly what that looks like on Saturday. All right. Fan questions, as always, brought to you by Love's Travel Stops. Visit loves.com for more information on the nation's leading travel stop network that's headquartered right here in the great state of Oklahoma. By the way, all you Oklahoma fans heading down south, you better be stopping at a Love's Travel Stop along the way. My wife won't let us stop anywhere else, I can assure you, because not only do they have great customer service, but the cleanliness is second to none. If you don't believe me, take it up with Lacey Dvoracek. She will fight that tooth and nail. All right, first question from Kyle M. What's the best way for fans to show their support for the players during this tough stretch?
Yeah, just, stay positive,
Oh boy.
older guys can, like me, can handle stuff like that, but you never know how it's going to affect the younger guys. Right. And you're only with the younger guys so much as a leader and as a player, so I could tell them as much as I want while we're in person together, hey, get off Twitter, man. Don't be, looking at that. But when they go home, chances are they're going to get on Twitter. Right. And so if they see all that negativeness, it might bring them down. And for a team of our structure, that's not really the best thing, So I could say the biggest thing is just stay positive, just look at the bright side of things. We're going to get it together. We have a lot of experienced guys. We have a great coaching staff. And it's not like we have a bad team. We have a lot of talent, And so, yeah, just stay positive.
I would say that, and keep showing up and making noise, whether it's a road game or a home game, right? Just keep showing their support that way, right?
No doubt. Yeah, it's going to be big, especially for the, up and coming stretch.
Yeah. All right. This last one comes from Jeremy H. Love this question. What is your go-to meal at the fair after the game? And is it different if you win or lose?
Well, to be fair, after the game, I always get a funnel cake, right?
Hell yeah.
To be even more fair, I've only lost my freshman year. So for the last 4 years, it stayed the same, it's been the same. So I'm going to go with the funnel cake. I love funnel cakes in general, but, that's a must after the game, after a hard, long, hot Cotton Bowl game, get a nice little refreshing drink and a funnel cake. Maybe a turkey leg if you're still hungry, maybe a turkey leg, but yeah, definitely a funnel cake for me.
Funnel cake for sure. Funnel cake and some lemonade really hits the spot after a game.
Mine was always, it was the same thing. It was funnel cake. And remember, I was a fat guy back then. Funnel cake, corn dog.
Oh, yeah.
3 beers my parents would bring me, and I would house them. I would get after them. Wax cup, down the hatch, baby. Have a nice little beer buzz on the way home.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Especially when you win. They were sad beers my senior year. I went 3-1 against Texas and only lost my senior year. It was brutal.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, I did forget the corn dogs, but like I said, I think I still got to stay with the funnel cake.
Just do both, man. If you guys win tomorrow, with how much people are doubting y'all heading into this game, eat whatever the hell you want.
Right.
If y'all
win. We have a lot to prove. So, man, I'm excited. But yeah, when we win, I'm eating everything.
And wear that gold hat with pride,
always.
Man. I think it's one of the best trophies of any rivalry, especially the fact you get to wear it. I mean, post game. So hopefully, Brayden, you guys will have a lot of success. Hopefully you guys are wearing that golden hat at the end of the game on Saturday there at the Cotton Bowl. As always, man, we appreciate you. Thank you for your time today, and best of luck on Saturday. And now it's time for me and my man Gabe to break it down. The breakdown brought to you by the Oklahoma Proton Center. It's one of the top cancer centers in the region. Using state-of-the-art proton therapy, Oklahoma Proton Center, more than a cure, quality of life. Always outstanding. We had to get a chance to visit with Brayden Willis. He is the leader of this football team. He will go out there as a captain in the biggest game of the year for a reason. And, I'll just jump right into what he said. Running the football is the most important thing offensively they can do. We'll see if Dillon Gabriel plays. I think you and I both think that's going to be a long shot at this point, just based off of everything surrounding concussions, the Tua situation, the way it looked from the Dillon side of things, not knowing anything about what's transpired at practice this week, because I don't intentionally. I find it hard to believe he plays. And even if he does play, they need to run the football better. Like, that to me is the number one item of business. And Brayden talked about it. Kavondre Sweat up front, Moro Ojimo up front, Big Coburn up front. They got big body guys, and it's really as important as ever for this offensive line to play with a level of physicality that we haven't seen to this point, because it's the biggest. And as he even said, they're playing more physical with better hands. It's the biggest, and I would argue best defensive line they've played to this point in the season.
It's not even close. And I know everyone's worried about the quarterback situation, right? Will DG be able to go? If not, is it Davis Bevel? There's Nick Evers buzz after what Venable said in his press conference about getting all 3 QBs. Looks like, and I'm here to tell you, it doesn't matter.
Right.
If the interior of the offensive line doesn't play its best game of the season, it does not matter who is playing quarterback, because 99, 90,
big,
93,
physical.
98, it is not even close. This is by far the best collection of interior defensive linemen that this team has played. And McCain Matarier, Andrew Ray, and Chris Murray, they got to come out and play at a really high level. They got to play their best game of the season. And if they don't, that pocket's going to collapse. That run game's going to stall. And it's not going to be pretty offensively for Oklahoma. Those 3 guys have to accept the challenge that is in front of them. It doesn't matter who's at QB. If those 3 guys come out and play their best ball, they can get things going offensively. If they don't, it's going to be a long day. So that's where I think that's the key for OU offensively. It's not quarterback. And I know it's not sexy to talk about, but it's the interior of the offensive line. Those guys got to come out and have a day.
They do. And I'd also just say they're going to have to be able to get to the second level. And it's not just those 3, but it's also the tight ends, because DeMarvion Overshone, he can run. He is sideline to sideline. He is long and rangy. Jalen Ford is playing really well for them at the linebacker spot. So, I mean, look, you have to deal with the defensive line first and foremost, right? It's the it's right there in your face, and they can wreck the game immediately if you can't get movement, if you can't get them blocked up. But then right along with that, man, it's also, to me, those two linebackers, because they run well, Ford tackles very well, Overshown's all over the field. So first out of my business is that defensive line, and it's also being able to get up to that second level and help secure some blocks as well. Because if you let those guys just run free, I mean, they can wreck your afternoon as well.
There's no doubt. I think that Overshown is the most impactful linebacker they've played up to this point. I really like him as I've watched him on tape. The guy does a little bit of everything. Brayden mentioned all the games that they do. Overshown's a big part of that. They like bringing him on pressures. They like using him in those 3rd and 6+ situations in those games, along with the defensive line. Like, you got to know where Zero's at. He is an impact player for them, no doubt. But, along with the run game, clearly you got to get that going, right? You got to take care of the interior. I think the best course of action for Jeff Lebby in the run game would be to attack the edges of the defense. I think 88 and 18 are solid. They're not world beaters on the edge there for the Longhorns. I think that's who you attack. But Marvin Mims, Jalil Farouk, Brayden Willis in the middle of the field, like, these guys have to step up and make big plays in the passing game. You're not just going to be able to run it right down the field on this defense, I don't think, with how solid they are in the interior. Like, you have to have some game-changing plays in the vertical passing game. And when you look, I think Mims can run by Ryan Watts. I think he can. Number 6 for them. Like, that's a big 6'3". I mean, he looks the part at corner. And then on the other side, you have Deshaun Jameson, who's about as aggressive as you can be as a corner. We've seen Farouk and Drake Stoops both, right? We've seen them really have some nice double moves and get open. Now, they haven't connected on enough of those, but maybe Saturday's the day, and they can take advantage of how aggressive Jameson is in jumping some of those routes. But everything's got to go right. Let's be real. Like, the O-line's got to play well, got to make big plays in the passing game, got to run it efficiently. And we haven't even talked about the quarterback situation.
Right. Which, again, I'm just, Davis Bevel, it might be different with an entire week of preparation. I mean, he's not going to be a guy that's going to bring a ton of mobility. But I think if you can run the football, you can shrink his menu and not put too much on his plate, find the best 5-6 things that he does in the pass game. I think get the ball out quick, easy throws to get him some confidence, get him into a rhythm. I think it makes the most sense. And an entire week of preparation potentially puts him in a completely different place mentally, and even from an execution standpoint, from where we saw him kind of thrust into that role a week ago. I mean, that is the one thing, like, for people that don't know, typically your starting quarterback gets 85% of the reps throughout the week of practice. The backup doesn't get a whole lot. So this will be a completely different week from, a preparation standpoint. I know Coach Venables said earlier in the week, General Booty as well as Nick Evers have been getting some reps as well. So that may cut into that. But whoever that backup is, which we're just going to assume it's Davis Bevel right now, he's gotten more reps in practice this week than he has at any point in the season throughout the course of this year. So I do think from that standpoint, we should expect a more prepared quarterback than what we saw on Saturday, just kind of thrust into a spot that nobody had an anticipation he was going to be put into. I think Eric Gray, I look at Eric Gray and in space, obviously we talked about the run game, but as a pass catcher, to me, you can create some matchups with him, try to find ways to get him the ball in space. He catches the ball very fluidly. He runs good routes. I would look to try to utilize that at times as well, Gabe, because you can make some, less than difficult throws with your quarterback to running backs out of the backfield. And I think that Eric Gray has the ability to make defenders miss and really give you some of that, yak yardage after he's able to catch the football.
Yeah. I mean, swing screens, right? Just easy rhythm throws. And that's the thing with Bevel. Can he stay calm? Right. This is a guy that, and I know he started the bowl game, right? Listen,
Yep.
it ain't the same.
No.
This is going to be the most nervous this kid has ever been in his entire career, because the atmosphere there, like the energy, it affects you. And can he handle the moment? And one thing that I think Jeff Lebby is really good at is getting plays early that'll help settle him down.
No doubt.
Give him layups.
Rhythm. Get him into a
Rhythm. Throw some of those quick screens. Throw some swings to Eric Gray. Like, just let him raise up, throw the ball, and see it be caught.
Yep.
Remind him, hey, I can do this.
Yes.
The moment's not too big. I think we're going to see some of that early. But, yeah, Eric Gray, I know, banged up against TCU. Fully anticipate him playing in this football game. And he's got to be big, right?
Yep.
And not to go too deep into the weeds, but, you know, Texas up to this point in the season, like, their empty check has been to bring pressure.
Yep.
If you can motion Eric Gray out of the backfield and get him one-on-one with a linebacker or safety, you got to feel good about that matchup, right? So we'll see if that's utilized at all, but guys got to step up. Right? If you're playing your backup quarterback, which I think is most likely, guys around him have to step up. Got to play their best game of the year. They got to help Davis Bevell out.
That's the biggest key. And you heard Brayden Willis say it. Like, how do you help an inexperienced quarterback in this game? Everybody's got to play well around him. And that's the truth. Like, that's going to be the biggest key. And that's where it's going to start up front in that interior. That's where it's going to start with that running game. And then on some of those easy throws, got to be able to create some plays, create some yards after the catch. We'll see if they can do it. I know this, man. So they might need to blindfold him and have him put on like headphones on the drive in, because that drive in, dude, that to me, I just used to get me going so much. You got those motorcycle cops, the chips just buzzing around you, and you pull into that state fair, you drive through this sea of humanity, and it's incredible. Like, it's incredible. But and I say blindfold them because that's when you start to realize, when you pull in there, oh, damn, this ain't the same. As much as you want to make it just like any other game, it's like, what in the heck is this? When Texas fans are beating on the bus, flipping you off, and you got the OU fans yelling back at them, chanting Boomer Sooner, it's unlike any scene you will ever be a part of. And then just all of it, the ramp, walking down, the parting, and it's amazing. And you get a chance to be there on the sidelines on Saturday. A lot of these people watching right now will be there on Saturday. I echo what Brayden said. Support these guys, cheer for these guys, make some noise for these guys. They're going to need it this weekend, and especially the games coming up more than they have in quite some time. This is not the time to quit on your team. It's the time to double down and give them the support that they need from the fans that care about them the most. So I know Sooner Nation is going to bring it. I hope the Sooner football team brings it as well. As always, a big thank you to our friends at Muse Growth Strategies for continuing to help us spread the word about strengthening Oklahoma. Reminder to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button whenever you check out some of these fantastic videos from our players. And wherever you listen to your podcast, we would appreciate a 5-star rating, and a like would be awesome. And for our subscribers who have been there from the beginning and continue to stay there, thank you. For all the new viewers, YouTube or whatever listening platform you have, we thank you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you again next time after the Oklahoma-Texas matchup in Dallas, right here on Strengthening Oklahoma.